Small businesses, there's, like I say, resources for startups, for small businesses. But most resources don't come into play for a nonprofit till they're at least in operation for 3, and that's being generous, more likely 5 years. So there isn't a safe place, a good place for a nonprofit to turn to get the assistance they need to get their business, because it is a business, off the ground. And what is the fundamental difference between a for-profit and nonprofit? Does anybody want to? I like to talk like I'm a teacher. So
I'm married to a teacher, so this is familiar.
You're
That's familiar. It's like, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, what is the difference?
do you want to take a stab at it?
Oh, sure. They're very similar. I've always what I do as a development officer in fundraising. I'm in sales, but I'm working for a place that has a cause. So I think my biggest thing would be the difference between for and nonprofit is you're running both as a business. You need to make money. The nonprofits are reinvesting those funds into the community or into their mission, whatever that would be. For us, it's expanding life and making sure that everyone has those resources to, take better care of your heart health. A business, reinvests in themselves and to expand their business so that they can continue to go and do work in that industry. That's my guess.
It's good. And that's what the key phrase I think you said, Ryan, is the fact that a nonprofit whatever money, whatever revenues, however they're generating those revenue, whether it be through fundraising, grants, and yes, they can sell things.
I've done it.
Nonprofits think I can't sell anything. No, that's not true. You can actually
You're
sell.
selling things.
You're selling.
Selling
things.
things every day. If you're doing it right. Yeah.
So you take that money and you reinvest it in the nonprofit organization, whereas a for-profit can do what? Bonuses, right? They can do what they want with the profit. They don't have to reinvest it in the business. Yeah. They should. Yeah, at least not
the good ones are,
yeah. But there's no requirement to, right? So that's really at the end of the day, that's the only real difference between a nonprofit and a for-profit. Now, for a nonprofit, this is what I teach my nonprofits. Why are you in existence? It all comes back to the theory of change. So every nonprofit exists for the theory of change. And that theory of change is meaning that there is a gap in your community that is not currently being met by any government funded program. So that nonprofit exists to fill in the gap. That sounds awfully familiar to what for-profits do. What do they? I think they fill in a gap too in the marketplace.
See, ladies and gentlemen, that's why I bring them in here. These folks are giving it to us differently. So the business model and the nonprofit model, not that there's not a lot of difference.
No, and when small businesses are the primary giver to nonprofits, everybody thinks it's all corporate donations, and corporate entities definitely are major sponsors, but actually most of the funding comes from small business. Now, here's the thing: if you're a nonprofit approaching a small business and you're begging and you're saying, you don't understand, I'm different, you've created a wall. That small business is like, what, you think creating a small business from midair was easy? Because there's really no difference. The thing that needs to match up is the purpose. That's what you and I discussed before, right?
It's the purpose.
So all organizations and all consumers these days, right? What are they looking for from their organization? Not just quality of product and quality of service, and not just price point.
They're talking social and the social part.
Social responsibility.
So how can you be socially responsible in selling your widgets? By partnering with nonprofits that have the same purpose as you.
And we've had that conversation. You partner with someone who's in the area where you're in. What is the draw to nonprofit work, you guys? So you went to the nonprofit world and never left.
Right.
What is it that there's a draw to certain people who go to the world and never leave?
As an employee or as a business?
An employee.
Well, I had some real, I had some professional instances where I had to kind of take a look as I'm at an age right now where I can either make a career change and do something else, or I got to stick with this because, you get to a point, it's harder and harder to really get to make a shift. Absolutely. And I looked at that. I said, like I said earlier, what I do is sales in a sense. I'm soliciting sponsorships. I'm soliciting donations. But what I'm doing is I'm selling you a tax write-off and a good feeling instead of that widget. So I could probably translate to for-profit, but for me, I just feel like there's a bigger mission in myself. Like I want to help people that need the help. I want to help the community. I want to leave this world a better place than when I got here. And for my daughter, I want her to feel proud of what our family does. So to me, it's about altruism is the short answer to that, is why I choose not to leave.
Tiffany, you operate in a nonprofit world. What's the draw? And when you see yourself and you see them other people, like a lot of times I joke with people like, oh, I can tell you're in that nonprofit world because you have that save the world. You guys want it to be a better place than when you got here.
Yes, I want to make the world definitely a better place. That's the legacy I want to leave behind. So, I think, for a nonprofit, when you think about somebody who's working in the nonprofit space, you're thinking that they're being led by their beliefs, their values, and their heart more than by the dollars and cents. And I think there's truth to that, but I'm going to say something, that's probably not what a lot of people think of, which is there are for-profits who can do the same